Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Willie Comic Wrap. We're about the midway point, so let's get started. Kicking these off, we've got Avengers number 2. Where we left off, Captain Marvel had been pulled into pulled outside of space-time while the Avengers had just finished defeating Terminus at Project Pegasus, where at the point the location that Captain Marvel was pulled to was none other than Kang the Conqueror, clearly injured. So, after speaking with Kang, Carol pulls Kang out at Project Pegasus. But Kang explains that the tribulation events are coming, and as a show of good faith, he's given Carol a list of 1,000 people who are going to die the next week. You know, where, the when, the who, so on and so forth. So we have a group of Hydra Splinter Cell in Mexico City taken down by Black Panther. No fatalities. A train crash in central India is prevented by Thor. Also, while explaining what's going on with him, Kang does tell about Mirrodin, whom he fought in Timeless. And over Dublin, Vision and Iron Man stop a plane from crashing. Captain America stops a rig driver from getting on the road with pep pills. Apparently Sam's got some experience driving a rig. Meanwhile, Scarlet Witch is the Avengers are currently based out of the Jarvis Lounge in New York, with Scarlet Witch acting as opening portals to get the Avengers where they need to be, though Thor suggests that perhaps something might be done with Bifrost. Carol, meanwhile, is watching a monitor, keeping an eye on Kang, waiting for him to regain consciousness so he can finish his story. But in Earth orbit, the Impossible City arrives. That is where the issue ends. We're early in the series, so it will be interesting to see how the tribulation events play out and what they consist of. There are vague explanations of them. Very much kind of like how prophecy can be interpreted multiple ways. You know, oh yes, the prophecy states that it sounds, a prophecy might say something that sounds rather dire, but then it's just something utterly mundane. So yeah. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Hellcat number 4. Where we left off, Patsy had discovered that her late boyfriend Spaulding had an interest in the occult. We, the readers, learned that he was apparently working with Damien Hellstrom, Patsy's ex-husband, and the son of Satan. So he opened flashing back, seeing more of Spaulding and Damien. Damien still in the form of a stuffed bunny rabbit, but it seemed that over the course of investigation, Patsy and Sleepwalker discovered that Spaulding had been constructing an exile gate. He wants to know what lies beyond this realm largely because of circumstances, or what happened with him and his parents shortly before, the day before their death. Further flashbacks to Patsy's past. She tried to admit to being the one who was writing the papers, but her mother basically called this with no, that couldn't be the case. Because if that were the case, I'd have to stop giving the school money. The person who got caught and expelled, Patsy tries to apologize to him, but he is understandably mad. In the present, Sleepwalker and Rick are discussing the Imaginator, which Patsy had found at the scene of Spaulding's murder. It was put there by Sleepwalker as a surveillance device initially, and so Rick and Sleepwalker look through what was recorded. Back in the past, Chet is drinking away his sorrows. Some of the jocks from the high school him and Patsy go to show up to give him grief, and he stabs one in the throat with a broken beer bottle for driving away and ending up crashing and dying. Patsy goes to talk with Hetty in the present. Apparently, when she discovered that Spaulding had an interest in the occult, that was when she called things off. That's when she broke up with him. She didn't want to tell Patsy because Patsy seemed happy. But it turns out that it looks like Patsy is hiding memories from herself. Sleepwalker tries to figure out what's being hidden, including memories of the night that Spaulding was killed. She was apparently there. She fought Blackheart, pretty much tore him apart. And he was also led to Spaulding's death. While Sleepwalker's working with Patsy, Dr. Strange calls Hetty to pass along a message. Apparently, it's not an exile gate, but rather a true form door. The idea being when someone steps through it, they emerge on the other side, their true self. So familiars, shapeshifters, any entity or being otherwise transmogrified would revert to their true form. But it needs a powerful enough focal point, any kind of dimensional keystone. And Hetty realizes that Damien was likely involved, and Damien shows up. Fighting off Sleepwalker, taking his Imaginator as well as Patsy, and returning to the lighthouse. Basically, he explains that once he steps through, he had Crantham replace the Sleepwalker's Imaginator eye in the floor of his home where it had been hidden, so nothing was missed. He wouldn't use power again until Damien was ready for Patsy. Blackheart's rage at Spaulding's betrayal, Patsy's interference, nuisance of Sleepwalker, and resistance to be the perfect frame for murder. The Imaginator was lost to Hellstrom when Patsy took it, so the door was powerless until he could locate it again. He had to wait and pretend to be the harmless little bunny but then he can restore past to true form. That of his demonic soulmate. And that is where the issue ends. Oh boy. And yes, the demonic soulmate, her Patsy's demonic form does look very similar to what you see on the cover. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got I Am Iron Man, number 4. So this is basically a series of one-off stories. Not connected to the only connection between them is Iron Man being a vocal character. The story in this issue is set in the aftermath of Civil War. Tony Stark and Doctor Strange are sharing a meal, but Tony sees something. He tries to ask Doctor Strange if Strange sees it. Strange doesn't. The next day, he asks Dr. Voodoo, who doesn't. Moon Knight, nope. Spider-Man, nothing buzzing on the spider senses. Brings back Strange, and aboard the helicarrier, Doctor Strange does some performance. Is able to test Tony's blood, and also Tony shows Strange basically his secret lab. This includes things like his Buster armors as well as the original Iron Spider armor. Doctor Strange notes that explains that of all the heroes of Earth, Iron Man knows most, has known about Thanos the longest. But how many Thanos Buster armors are there? But he adds that it seems that Iron Man is far better at facing off against fellow Avengers than actual villains. In Yava, Lago City, Tony's called in on a murder investigation. A legal alien immigrant that Tony had placed. Tony has a list. There have been a few others in the last week or so, and they all were placed by Tony. The next one is in Atlantis. Apparently, though, Tony and Maria Hill arrived too late to just a few minutes after the victim is killed. There's one left that leads the two of them to the blue area of the moon. And so Tony destroys their ride back and explains that first off explains he studied the time of death of all the victims. They were all realistically timed apart, nothing fancy. Most likely the work of a single killer walking and hitchhiking from one location to another. No meticulous planning or urgency. The most probable way the culprit got to Atlantis was by hitching a ride, and the only vehicle that left Lagos, or Nigeria for that matter, to Atlantis was Stark's vessel. So most of them use the same MO to get to the moon. Doctor Strange shows up. Apparently, he's been infected by what's called the Key. The Key finds out what someone loves the most, what they're most proud of, anything of strong emotional worth. The lock destroys it ruthlessly. Motion is able to fall. One falls for the trap, and you will kill the lock to open the lock. Strange tells him this just after Stark and Maria Hill killed the lock. But this started a demonic invasion. The key is removed, and a strange living cosmic cube pops up. suggesting that Doctor Strange put the key in a storage receptacle, and also as not to leave behind any of his mystic energy. But the cannon shatters the cosmic cube in its power source chamber. The resultant burst of energy is forced to oscillate in reverse pattern of the sample mystic energy put into the slot. The Avengers of the same energy is the key. They will be obliterated. They are. When Strange realizes what Tony's done, he asks Tony if that's his Strange Buster. Tony doesn't exactly answer. But the weapon asks. Tony's asked if this weapon should be destroyed, and well, he says no. And that is where the issue ends. Yeah, Tony's paranoia is, especially when it comes to his fellow heroes, is definitely of note. Thor Buster armors, Hulk Buster armor, Thor Buster armor, Hulk Buster armors. Yeah, there's the Phoenix Buster, which had a purpose, but yeah. Every Buster armor is designed with a singular purpose, that's to stop a specific hero. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Scarlet Witch Annual. Serving as a prelude to the upcoming annual crossover among the Marvel Annuals, Contest of Chaos. At the Emporium, apparently Wanda constantly deals with demons, though she's set things up so that they live in a pocket reality, which she then puts in a jar, which she then keeps in a jar. In the town of New Salem, Colorado, what is this jerk's name? Necrodamus is having tea with an unseen other party, who promptly betrays him and has a batch of zombies kill Necrodamus. And, well, the person who's having tea with is revealed to be none other than Agatha Harkness. Apparently, Necrodamus wants to kill Wanda, remove the Darkhold from her soul, take out her heart as well. Also, cut the Darkhold in two and split it so that he has half of it and Agatha has the other half. But apparently, Zax shows up in Dallas, so Wanda takes care of that and returns to Lockhill, where Agnes is waiting, or where Agatha is waiting for her. But they have tea, and well, the tea was spiked by Agatha with some brood eggs. But Wanda's able to negate them. They have a battle throughout the plains. The Black Sea of the Interplane, Superflow, the Land of Legends, the Megaverse, the Witch's Road. But Wanda is able to convince Agatha that, you know, what she's done with the Darkhold is not. She is aware of the fact that, yeah, what she was Darkhold is probably not the best idea, but she's making a point of making it work. And so Agatha leaves after getting a tour of Lockhill. Apparently, he's quite fond of pizza. However, later Agatha calls upon goes into the basically goes into the dimension in which Wanda is holding Chthon in, and rips out Chthon's heart. That is where the issue ends. Now, this will be continued throughout Marvel's annuals for the next few months. We've got Spider-Man vs. Wolverine and Spider-Man Annual number 1, Iron Man vs. Storm, Human Torch vs. Ghost Rider, Moon Knight vs. Teguki, Spider-Gwen vs. White Fox, Venom vs. Deadpool, Cyclops vs. Captain Marvel, and the Avengers vs. Unknown. This is interesting. I doubt that the rest of these will be as interesting. Hero versus hero stuff is a little, yeah. This just seems like a weak excuse to get that, to bring that about. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we've got Bloodline, Daughter of Blade, number 5. Wrapping up the miniseries. Where we left off, Deacon Frost had kidnapped Brielle's mother Saffron, as well as her father, Blade, and allowed Saffron to escape to bring Brielle to him. So Saffron shows up. Brielle tells her friends what's going on, but then vampires show up, and as well as Whitney. Whitney and manages to take down, or Saffron. Brielle manages to take down Whitney, as well as the vampire working with her, while at Deacon Frost's hideout, Blade has basically had his bloodlust unleashed. Him and Frost fight it out a bit before Brielle and Whitney show up. Frost makes it clear he doesn't care at all about Whitney, and further injures her. But Whitney's able to talk down her father, and the two of them work together to kill Deacon Frost. And Blade and Saffron enjoy some family time with Brielle. Blade saying that honestly, she knows the hero she wants to be, and she's working on getting there. But Saffron explains that she's already there. And that is where the series ends. This is a good series. I know there's an upcoming. I think there's an upcoming Blade miniseries, or at least a Blade series coming up soon. I imagine that there will be some repercussion, some reference to this. So, but anyway, otherwise, Bloodline was great. I enjoyed the character's appearance. I think it was in Marvel's Halloween special last year. So. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Huge shout out to Patreon patron Xander Lee. Thank you so much for your support. This is links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.